Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Guys, in this video we're going to be installing this Victron battery monitor in our Jayco camper. Now guys, if you check back the original video on this three-part series so far, we took the batteries off the front of the camper, we moved them inside, we did all the components with that. Then we went ahead and got the Li-Time lithium iron phosphate batteries, and we stuck those in there with another Victron piece, which is our battery charger. So guys, let's open up the little cubby, take out all of our junk, and get started on this build. I'll show you guys just briefly some of the tools I think we're going to need. Of course, there's that battery monitor. I'll have a link to this in the description. And then I'll have a link for some of these other parts. Guys, this is what we're going to be crimping some of these big lugs with. So we're going to crimp the lugs with that. And then this is just some wrap that's going to go around the wire to protect it. These are some heavy duty wire cutters, some screws to put that in, a drill, a hammer. I'll need a couple wrenches, but overall it's a pretty easy process. Okay friends, it is basically empty. So there's the batteries, and here's our big old board that, if you check back the last video, you'll see us working on that. We got a spot right over there is where the battery shunt is gonna go. Well, I figure it's just as good a time as any to go ahead and vacuum that cubby out. Something I'm really happy that I installed in this camper is this shut-off switch. So the first thing we're going to do is shut off the power there, and then we're at a campsite, so I can also shut off the shore power. So essentially where we're going to be installing the shunt is in this line right here. So see, that goes from the dual batteries, this negative, and then it comes over here to our main distribution bar for the negative side. All we're going to be doing is splicing this, put two ends on it, and then we're going to be putting the shunt right in between there. So we might move stuff around just slightly, but essentially that's what we're going to be doing, is just cutting that in half. And we just got to take this guy off, a couple more deals, and then we will be cooking with oil. All right, I got this wire out and cut in half, and so here is the lug I'm going to be putting on. I did slip some heat shrink on, and it's almost the same size as the wire. So I don't know that we're going to be using that. We might have to use black electrical tape. But friends, just some reminder that you want to have these both laying flat. So you wouldn't want this one like twisted. Well, maybe in a particular arrangement, but for ours, I want them both to be perfectly flat if you were to lay them on the ground, so that they're going the same direction. That'll help. But just be mindful of where you're going to be putting them and where you want that lug to be set. So this a second ago was the one long one, and then of course here's the other side that we're going to be crimping. And all you do is and I have this in the original video too, you set it in there and then you hit it with the hammer, and that will leave the nice crimp in there. Just make sure you cut it back enough to where you can get plenty of wire up into that lug. Here's what that looks like. That's about how much I got off, and you can see how much is going in there. All right friends, so you can see that little check mark there. That worked really good, and I believe I am able to get that over, which is so nice. So essentially that's the perfect size. I don't have a really nice hair dryer, if you will, so we're going to use a lighter, but that's going to do the trick for it. Again, it's heating up and shrinking onto that, so that guy's done. And for a bit of redundancy, here's this side. We're sneaking that over. I'm so happy that worked. And so friends, this is not a very big project, but I can tell you I have not been more excited about one of the additions to the camper in a while. I can't wait to be able to see what our batteries are doing. All right friends, so this is going to determine where that goes, this wire here. So we shorten this that's coming over to that battery. So that's a nice good length, and now I'm going to be mounting this on the board. So friends, there's lots of ways to design these, and I have fun thinking about it, but I like how this board's coming together. Another thing friends is that this can be all moved and arranged. You know, I have all these tools and these crimpers, so I can make these wires run wherever I want, but this thing could pretty much be wherever. It just needs to be in between the negative bus bar and the negative side of the battery. All right friends, so everything here is tightened down, and then I got this side tightened down And now I got this cord over here. I'm gonna come through and then to connect these batteries back together, and now we're coming down. So not a big deal there. I'll tighten that up, and then what's next is we're going to be running these two little doodads out the bottom of the shunt over to the two positive sides of these batteries. Now friends, I had a guy talk about having these wires coiled up and how wire on top of wire coiled isn't so good, but the only thing I have coming out of these batteries right now is a LED lights inside the camper, really small draws, so these are not getting hot. If I was to run an inverter or something, I understand what the guy was saying, then I would even have bigger gauge wire to run an inverter. But friends, my idea with this whole board is the board can come out later, and then this is the actual camper positive and then the camper negative. I want to be able to run these back out to the front of the camper, throw a $100 lead acid battery back on there, and then take this system with me. So I'm trying to be kind of cheap and not cut these wires up. But of course, if this was going to stay in here permanently, I would have just ran this wire directly and not had the coil. So friends, coming out the bottom end of the shunt are these two little red wires. That's going to be giving you power to this thing, and of course talking to the batteries. The one on the left, if you just had a single battery, you would use just the left one. So I connected that to this left battery, and that is the battery that the negative is coming from. This other one on the right, because I have two batteries connected together over here, this guy is going to the positive of that battery. If you wanted, you could use just the left one to your battery, and then you could monitor with this right cord, maybe your starter battery or something like that. At any rate, I have those guys connected, and then they give you a really long cord here, and this is to actually go to the little monitor. Now friends, I got the one with the monitor because I think I'm going to be running this in the camper, probably following this cord and then going up into the camper. I'm still not going to drill a hole this size and mount it in the camper because I don't want to mess up this camper, and I'm not going to leave this with the next people that have the camper. I did think about drilling a hole somewhere on this board and leaving it back here. I might have it over here to the right where I could open the little side hatch. I really just want to see how much I like the app to see if I'm going to bother even running this up front. So right now I'm just going to plug it in here, and then now we're going to get into the kind of the technical stuff. And friends, I don't think this is going to be the video for you guys to figure out all the technical stuff, but everything is hardwired and connected. I'm going to check out the app and get this thing going, make sure I'm doing everything in the manual right, and then I'll touch bases with you guys. All right, friends, so let's check out what we got. We are currently at a state of charge, this is a couple days later, of 94%. We charged it to capacity and then we reset it. So we're at 94%. We have a voltage of 13.27 volts. We have a current of negative 2.70 amps. Now check this out. We're going to turn a light on and we'll see what it does. So -2, now we're up to -3 amps. So you can right away see, right now we can do that for 2 days and 17 hours. We'll kick that light back off, and now we'll see it go back up. So now it's -2.7 and 2 days, 16 hours. So that'll start changing. The power, -36 watts, and consumed amp hours, we've used 12.4 amp hours, 2 days, 17 hours. And then down here is a part that I'm still trying to figure out, this midpoint voltage deviation, 99.8, and then mid voltage at 10:32 p.m. So you got notifications, you have history, and all this stuff, guys, is where you can get bogged down and spend a ton of time learning this stuff. You can see trends, and one that was interesting is all these settings. So in the settings, a lot of them are around the battery. So I gotta make sure with my lifetime batteries that all this stuff is correct. Still gotta figure that out, but essentially we have a piece of fuzz is what we have. But guys, we have, the battery is 200 amp hours because I have two 100 amp hour batteries together. The charge voltage is 13.2. I gotta check with the battery manufacturer. Discharge floor, you know, tail current, some of the stuff. The Puchert exponent I was looking up, I think we got that set right. Charge efficiency factor, and all this stuff you can start getting a better charge if you get that right. So synchronize SOC to 100%. I did that when the battery was at 100% charge. So I know the battery is fully charged because we have a Victron Battery Charger, and that gives you a little bit of information. Typically you'd have that up right now, but my camper's not plugged in. We're off the grid right now, so we don't have that. You can change the alarms to do what you want. There is just so much stuff in here, friends. So if you guys use this and you have any tips or tricks, let me know what you guys got going on. But I'm excited to get in here and learn all this. So that's the status. State of charge, 94%. And then again, on your main screen, whatever you have right here, you see you got some quick information on your main screen. My devices. Typically you'd see my battery charger in there as well. So friends, I sure hope that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't, consider subscribing. We got a bunch of good stuff like this coming out in the future. Ask any questions in the comments. I like to get to each and every one of those. So until the next video, friends, God bless, get up, and go on.